What's up, everybody? This is the MMA Pocket on behalf of Guts and Glory MMA. I'm delighted to be joined today by Bare-Knuckle Fighting Championships, the hero Henry. Quentin, thanks for doing this, mate. How's things?
Man, it's going pretty good. Just got done with a little run here at my gym in Louisiana, and here doing a podcast to get a little chat on.
So, how's life as a bare-knuckle fighter, then, mate?
Man, it's pretty good. I spent my whole life as a fighter. Since I was 4, I've been training to fight in one way or another. Bare knuckles. It's I think I've got one of the rare opportunities to come along at a special time in the sport where it's still developing. And I get to be one of the guys that kind of puts it on the map. So I'm loving it. I like the. It's just more fun to me. I've been fighting my whole life, and it seems like I kind of finally found what I was meant to do.
That leads me on to a couple of future questions, but first I've got to ask about the beard. Is that part of the new bare-knuckle persona?
Man, I was a firefighter here for 9 years, and as a fireman, you got to fight, you got to shave every day, and I grow a glorious beard, and I used to tell the guys all the time, I'm like, oh, you're lucky I got to shave, and then when I quit the fire department, man, I was done with it. So now I'm making up for lost time.
Letting it go free, man.
Right.
So, more importantly, does the missus like it?
She tolerates it. I think she doesn't like it quite this long. She'd prefer me to keep it a little shorter, but I usually start trimming it when it starts getting pulled in my gi and stuff.
Yeah. So, are you still fighting fires, or is it just people now?
Yeah, just people. I put out the metaphorical fires all the time, but there's no physical fire fighting anymore. I gave that up. Last January, right before the corona hit. I left and I opened up another business of mine, and just never looked back from there. Just had opportunity to start focusing more on fighting and training, and I'm not regretting it yet.
Awesome, man. So, like you mentioned, you're in your own gym. How has that been, like having your own business, especially in the last year with the pandemic and everything that's happened? How has that affected you personally?
Oh man, it's been an experience. I can say that. I opened my Brazilian Jiu Jitsu school in 2017, and then we went to. I had opened my second location in the next town over, like right before, I guess, October or November of 2019. And then, right till I got to that 6 point mark where I was kind of breaking even on what I was doing over here, is everything had to shut down. And, we had to go like 3 months, I think, with our doors completely closed. So, it sucked. At the same time, you go from just all of a sudden not making any money and not knowing what's going on. And then especially just leaving the fire department, because had I not left the fire department, I would have still been getting a check and everything the whole time. They don't get fired. So but it gave me time to evaluate things. I had a buddy of mine that I grew up with. We started hanging out again, training together. He's big into lifting, and he's part of the team now. And we rescoped the whole gym at my second location to be specifically for striking. It was something I always wanted in the long run. I just didn't really have the right time to do it, and I just felt like that was it. So but yeah, man, it's coming back along. My gym that I use for striking really is just my place that me and my team work at. It's not really like a McDojo or something that's actually like running a bunch of people through here. We're a pretty tight knit small group. But my place over in Calhoun, it's a full Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu program with kids and adults, and that's actually making a pretty good comeback right now, I think, because a lot of the other sports are still shut down. So maybe they're giving us a chance to catch back up from where we were.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the UK. We still can't do a lot here. I mean, I went back training for the first time last week. We're not allowed to have any sort of contact, no drills. It's just like us in an area with a heavy bag, for 2 hours. So we're still in a bit of a shutdown here, but things are looking better for you now, yeah?
Yeah, I think people over here are over it already. I think, starting to look at the statistics and all the things that's going on, we're moving past it. And, the fear doesn't seem to be like it was. That was the biggest thing that was keeping people back, was just the fear,
Yeah,
Because if you can't live with something like this, like the human race hasn't been through something like this before and survived and persevered,
sure, yeah,
so I think that type of morale seems to be coming back. We got a lot of states over here that are 100% open, and their numbers are dropping. It's a good sign. That maybe we're getting some herd immunity or whatever. But it's definitely it's not a time that I'll definitely never forget the pandemic. But I'm not going to say it was there weren't a lot of good things that came out of it. But I know there was a whole lot of bad. Especially I know there were a lot of people that probably had it worse than me. I was fortunate enough that I own a gym, so they couldn't tell me I can't be in here working out.
yeah,
So
exactly, yeah,
it's not, I wasn't making money here. I didn't have like a bunch of students coming in, but if it was like me and my training partner or whatever, we come in here and work out. All right, the door was locked, private sessions, whatever they want to call it. I don't really give a shit. I work for a living and I work out for a living. And I 100% believe being physically active has more to do with not getting sick or being in good health than anything.
oh, I agree,
So
yeah.
that was a place where I was fortunate, but I know there are a lot of people that just didn't have anywhere to work out. They had to get back to their roots and start doing chin ups on tree
Some of
branches and
us have
shit.
been sacking, man. Some of us have definitely
Right,
been sacking, believe. Um,
yeah, it's rough.
but yeah, like you say, it's affected different people in different ways. But hopefully, we're out the worst of it now. And like the UFC's having fans back, etc. So that's
Right.
looking up on the sporting front.
Yeah,
But
Bare-Knuckle's supposed to have a full stadium May 27th in Miami for there'll be 14,000 people. I think at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Pretty sure. I think that'll be the first full capacity show that we've been able to have. So that's going to be a really really big card.
you getting on that one, or
I don't know. We've there's a couple different things going on right now. I think there's a couple different states they're looking at legalizing bare knuckle. Over here, I guess like in the UK, it's just the UK, but we've got like 50 different states, and each one of them has to decide whether it's legal or they're going to let it happen. And there's its own commission and all this other stuff. So we're trying to get them to bring bare knuckle to Louisiana, and I think that would be something that would be huge. I recently just had two fights pretty much back to back, and then I had the Leben fight. And the way that our division is kind of set up, there's not exactly 50 guys to
yeah,
go up against, and right now we're looking at they're kind of waiting for a couple different people to fight and see where the cards fall before they decide anything. And then they're also kind of looking at what locations they can even have fights, because the way this has been going with the pandemic, you would look at, okay, say a state was, you would think, oh, surely they'll be open by August, but you felt that a year ago,
yeah,
and
exactly,
then
yeah,
so it's kind of hard for them to say, look, Quentin, you're fighting on this date, because when they tell me I got a date that I'm fighting, I put a lot of time and I make a lot of things move for that specific date. Every fighter does. It's not just me, so we've been going through a lot of issues as far as everything having to be short notice, just because it's impossible to plan anything outside, of a month, really, because every month things change. Some states legalize things, some things backtrack on what they said they were doing, but they're trying, man. I feel like I just stay ready anyway. Really, that's just the way I think you should train and be as a fighter. But I stay ready to make weight at every event they have in case something happens like the day before, and I can pop in there. But I think they've got plenty of guys that are serious about it. It's taking a little time for everybody to get built up and have a record, because there's a lot of guys that have signed contracts before the pandemic that haven't even had a chance to fight yet. You know what I mean? So you might have three or four other 205ers that need to at least have a real fight in BKFC to really even see where everybody's matching up, kind of deal. So we're at a weird spot right now, but it's also kind of an interesting one.
yeah. Because BKFC was like really starting to make waves just before everything went to shit. So
Right. Yeah, the
yeah, I mean,
Lobov
there's so
fight
many
and all that,
dynamics. Yeah,
yeah, that was a big deal. Jason Knight and Lobov, and then Lobov and Paulie. So, yeah, it was really starting to get a pretty big stir, but it's all good. We'll catch back up.
Yeah. So, what's your take on I say stars like Malinagi and Paige Vanzant coming over? Obviously, Paige Vanzant was quite a big superstar in the UFC, and it was quite a shock move for her really to go over to Bare-Knuckle, considering she's like half fighter, half model nowadays. But
Right.
yeah, what's your take on like is
Hey,
that a
look,
good?
man, you can't hate because some of us are pretty too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it too. I get it too.
Well, I like that they're coming over and they're giving a little more legitimacy to the sport. I mean, Polly's a retired fighter. Paige was an active fighter. She's not, which I think she's younger than I am actually. So I mean, to have a fighter come over in their prime like that is kind of cool. Um, I think that a lot of these fighters that aren't used to bare knuckle are finding out that it is a different sport. You found that out with Chop Chop Corley when he fought Reggie Barnett. I mean, that was probably the biggest difference in that fight was just Reggie's had 6 or 7 bare knuckle fights. Reggie knows
Yeah.
the rule set for bare knuckle. Every time they came in there and Chop Chop would throw an underhook or something, Reggie was chicken winging him. He was turning him with it. He was throwing him back and forth. He was clinching and punching, and that ain't something you do in regular boxing. It's against the rules. So uh, I think that was a big fight for the sport, and I think a lot of these other guys are going to start to see. And Chop Chop might come back, but if he does, I think he'll be different. And same thing with Paulie. He broke his hand in the second round. Both his hands, I think, before the fight was over. Well, it's like, oh well, I lost because my hands broke. We'll be like, yeah, you lost.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, that's
what I
important.
mean? It's like people trying to say that to make an excuse that, like when Anderson Silva beat or lost to Chris Weidman when he broke his leg. They're like, oh, had his leg not broken, but like, well, have Chris Weidman not checked that kick, his leg wouldn't have broken. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like, so who are you giving the credit to at the same time? It's like you hit me in the wrong spot and your hand broke.
But
That's your
that's the
fault.
beauty of fighting for me, though. It's the small margins that make all the difference. Like as you say,
Right.
if you had to check that kick, then who knows what would have happened? But he did, and that was he made that move, so that's what happens. But
Right, because checking a kick isn't just a defensive; that's an attack at the same time.
of
You're
course,
hurting your opponent, But you just gotta. I think people are starting to see that, because when Chop Chop was coming over, they're like, "Oh, he's gonna wreck him." And Dak came over. Dak, I think, was 22-0 in professional boxing before he came over to bare knuckle. But his style adapted for it. For
yeah,
the way he moves and gets out of the way, and um, and that's just like a little samurai. That dude's hilarious.
yeah. I mean, there's
He's so
definitely some
tough.
characters over there. Yeah. So for people that don't know, but you're actually a professional MMA fighter before you made the switch to bare knuckle. What made you decide to stop doing MMA and go over to bare knuckle?
Man, I had pretty much just quit doing MMA altogether. I had some injuries, and then I opened up my gym, and it just got to where I wasn't able to train myself as much, and I didn't like the environment that I was in MMA. I didn't like the pressure that was in it. Not necessarily the pressure; it was just like the business is so cutthroat.
Yeah,
It just took all the fun out of it, and I hated it. It made me hate it, and that sucks because at one time when I was a kid, like there was nothing I loved more, and you know, it's see, it's not like there's some crazy Harvey Weinstein shit going on in the back or anything, but it's just the
should
attitudes
hope
that are
not,
in
man.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, back and forth. Everybody's got on American Fighter type shirts, and they're like, my crew's beefing with this crew, and everybody's got the biggest dick in the room, and it's just aggravating, man. And I'm not like that. I don't like that type of attitude, and I don't like being around those people. I want to slap those people, And then there's a lot of shady stuff that goes on between different promotions, and you end up sometimes getting caught up in the middle of the drama, and it, not necessarily me, but I had some of my fighters. They tried to catch me once or twice, which you can't catch the hero, But it's like I just didn't like it, And then I went and it was just all I ever had. And we went to Brandon Martin, my training partner. Me and him trained MMA together forever, he fought in one of the bare-knuckle events. I think the second one in Biloxi, Mississippi. And man, it was just unreal. It was completely different in the way that the fighters acted towards each other, the way the promotion acted towards the fighters, the way that the fans interacted with the fighters and all that. It was how MMA used to be, back in the day. Back in the day when we would fight, you know, your fight probably wasn't going to be recorded on any
Yeah,
sanctioned body. It wasn't going to pop up online somewhere. You probably didn't know who you were fighting that night. But you weren't worried about my team getting into it with his team at weigh-ins, or some stuff like that. It was more pure, and it's just turned into more like WWE type stuff. And but with bare knuckle, it's real, man. I mean, you got some of these guys out here that are clowns, or they're getting their attention doing it in different ways, and that's all good. That's all part of the sport. But in bare knuckle, when it comes down to it, man, you just got to throw them dick beaters. That's it.
yeah,
The alpha and omega. This is all you got, and who's the better guy comes down to it. And it doesn't always come down to who's the better technical fighter, or who's the guy who's had the most experience. A lot of times in there, it's just who's willing to bite down and fucking take it. And and you can't do that with Khabib Nurmagomedov. You know what I mean? When he's grabbing you but if you're going to have it on an even playing field, bare knuckles is as even as it gets.
yeah. So that leads me on. Really, do you think it is for a fighter? Is it the ultimate proving ground? Is it the ultimate test?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, I feel like there's a lot of different ways that, like I tell people, certain animals fight a certain way. Kangaroos box, and horses will kick and shit, and dogs bite. I feel like grown ass men are supposed to throw hands. It's just in our DNA. If you got a 2-year-old, I got a 2-year-old kid, I got a little boy, little girl, it doesn't matter. When they get pissed, they're throwing hands because it's what's natural to them, and it's what's natural to all of us. And I think that's what really appeals to it to me the most, is it's just kind of, it's just everybody's been in a fist fight. Everybody has that natural instinct to been. Most everybody's been punched in the face with a fist, whether they were a little kid or whatever, or they've even at least envisioned it. And so I think it's just more real, and the fans can relate to that. They can't relate to what Khabib's doing. Me and you get it. Me and you were blown away with it, but 80% of them have no idea exactly how good he is,
Yeah,
and
what he does.
exactly what you know what I mean. And it's probably only about 5% that are able to understand how good he is. So but it doesn't take that in bare knuckle. You just got to watch.
Oh, I mean, from a fan perspective, from a spectator's point of view, it's definitely the most exciting, combat sport to watch. I mean, it's brutal most of the time. So who's not going to want to like that? But
Right.
yeah, as I was going to say, the thing is though, you've actually got quite a strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, and I think I'm right in saying that most of your MMA wins were actually by submission. So people might be surprised that you've gone into such a pure striking sport. Like, is that something that
Yeah.
you've always loved, boxing?
Yeah, I grew up. I started taking Taekwondo when I was 4. I got a black belt when I was like 12 or 13. I started boxing when I was in like the 4th grade. I did Jeet Kune Do with my dad my whole life. Just I've always been involved with more of a striker. I didn't really start. I started dabbling in a little jiu-jitsu when I was probably like 12, 13. As much as it was involved in Jeet Kune Do, but I always leaned more towards the striking arts. And even in in MMA. I have a lot of submissions on my record, but I usually punched them first, and then they fell down. And
Soften them
then
up a bit, yeah.
the reason we ended up on the ground or in this, I got the submission was because I dropped them or they didn't want to stay up anymore. Type of deal. Yeah, so it's a little deceiving, but no, I've been a brown belt for about 2 years now in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So. But I've been training in jiu-jitsu. Well, I started it was mainly just jiu-jitsu for MMA when I was probably like 16. And I picked up traditional jiu-jitsu back in 2016. So, that's kind of where I'm at in that whole deal. But yeah, I own a school over in Calhoun. And, but I've been grappling, I guess, for the better part of 15 years now.
So how is your since switching to bare-knuckle, how's your training routine and everything that you prepare for a fight changed? Is it any different or?
I mean, it's I do a whole lot of sparring. I do a whole lot of sparring, and that's just something I feel like, that fits best for me. I got a bunch of different sparring partners. I've recently been able to get, we had this invisible elephant in the room in my hometown between the local gyms where nobody was training with each other, but it was like nobody had beef, but everybody thought everybody else did, maybe type of deal.
Yeah,
But, so
crosswires.
I just, yeah, and I got with a couple of the guys who fight and all, and so we started going on weekends, like I think we had like 40 guys in there the other day, and they're sparring and training with us. I still train jiu-jitsu. I do more coaching. I don't do any more competitive jiu-jitsu while I've got my BKFC, contract and stuff going on. I'm not allowed to do that. But yeah, I definitely still train jiu-jitsu all the time. And I have select students that I'll grapple, ones I know ain't going to cut me or do something stupid, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, I just live and train. That's what I do. I get up in the mornings, I run my shop, my tea shop with my dad, help him out with that. And then I usually might have a session or something, and I usually go get in a run, 2 a-days. We'll hit in a run, and then in the evening we'll get some strength conditioning technique work in, and then I'll spar. And we spar just about every other day, or 5 out of 7, I would say.
So generally just the same, but loads of extra sparring.
Yeah, man, it's
It's
it's what I like.
understandable. Yeah.
It's what I like doing, and when you know how to spar and you spar correctly with your partners, you could do it without getting CTE or anything. But I get in a lot of rounds. In bare knuckle, it's 2-minute rounds, 5 twos, which is only 2 minutes. I mean, 10 minutes in total, but it's a fast paced 2 minutes. So only having 2 minutes to get some work done, and in the same sense, it's only 2 minutes. So you need to be pushing.
Yeah,
Who
of course.
can't do it for 2 minutes? If you can't do that, then you don't need to be in there. And that's the kind of fighters they want. They want guys that are going to go in there and fight for a straight 2 minutes. They're not going to lollygag and burn up half the round and then score a couple points and then bell ring. So but like I said, it's just gotten to where it's fun to me again, and it's really like it's just what I do now. I don't play video games anymore. I don't have any other hobbies and stuff. I hang out with my boys and my wife, and besides that, my fun is going to the gym. Like we have Sunday fun day. It's like, what do I want to do on Sunday? It's like I'm going to spend about 3 or 4 hours working out with nothing else to do. So but yeah, man, I'm in a good place. I'm having fun with it. Bare knuckle makes it a pretty lax environment, I guess, work environment to have. They really reward you based on your performance more so than the outcome, and that makes it a lot easier to work for them. Because I mean, imagine going to work every day and your job is not guaranteed to win. That like me, I don't use another job, for example. Maybe you make sandwiches and there's a 50-50 chance that those sandwiches are going to be right. But every day you went in there and you worked your ass off making those sandwiches hard, so hard. But half the time you still don't make them bitches right. It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of out of your control. And to have your boss almost punish you for it or fire you over it, it kind of sucks, but it's not about, oh, well, that girl stayed up all night memorizing the whole menu. She made 5,000 sandwiches yesterday by herself and only messed up these 2, or whatever. But that's how it is in MMA. You lose one fight, you just went back 2 years in your career. And because they won't even look at you till you got to fight a win streak. And then ain't nobody going to pay you more money after you just lost.
Yeah.
They don't care who you lost to or who you beat, but in bare knuckle, they just say, I lost that fight with Chris Leben, and I messaged Dave, and I was like, man, I'm sorry, it didn't last longer. It's not the outcome I was, hoping for. I just, I couldn't see, and he got me. You know what I mean? It's just how it happened. And he was like, and he's like, man, you ain't got to apologize to me. He's like, you went out there and fought your ass off and gave everybody what they wanted. You'll be back soon. Don't worry about it. You know what I
Oh,
mean? And
sure,
that,
yeah.
and then you're like, all right, okay. So maybe I'm
Oh,
not going to worry about it.
well,
Like not that I'm not just going to forget it. I'm going to go back and get better, but it's a good feeling to not have to worry about where my next check's coming from. It's because it's not like I didn't try. You know what I
yeah, of
mean?
course, yeah.
So it was just fucking Chris Leben. You got me. It's gotten a lot of people.
Yeah,
Like
we'll
let's
get
do it
onto that new
again. Let's
fight.
do it again. I bet you he doesn't get me again. You know what I mean? Like I promise you, he would never fucking get me again. But it's just how it is. So. But it's really not that people are like, oh, you gotta fight Leben again. I'm like, hey, if he comes out of retirement, he's got to fight me. I'm like, but outside of that, I'm not tripping. I'll go get another fight and do something else. Like I'm just here to fight.
Yeah, I mean, the Leben fight, obviously one of the highlights so far. But let's go back to your first fight, where you faced a bit of adversity. You got knocked down early doors, and then you managed to come back with your own brutal one-punch knockout. How was that first experience for you in the ring?
Man, that was crazy. I just I remember when we first towed the line thinking, damn, this is really close. And that's all I could think in my head was like, I feel like he could hit me from right here. And he couldn't. We couldn't hit each other, but you feel it's a lot different than when you start off an MMA fight and you're all the way across the ring from each other, or a boxing match or whatnot. But I remember when he knocked me down, I didn't feel it. I thought my knee buckled. But I mean, you watch the video, he hit me and it fucking buckled my knee. But then like I remember hopping up and he, I was shaking my knee because I thought it had went out. I'm like, man, my knee's fine. I'm like, and then I was just like, damn, he must have knocked me out.
Yeah.
And and I hopped off. I'm like, all right, well, that wasn't so bad. And then just went back at it after that. So it's different in MMA. You get caught one time and they're on top of you with 8 more. Bam, 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 bam. And it hurts more when you get hit with those hard gloves, as far as brain damage. You get a little more cuts and it stings a little bit more with the bare knuckle, but as far as, you get hit and dropped, all right, now you give me a standing 8 count, you give me a second to come back from it. I'm not getting a repetitive blow right on the back of my head as soon as I get dropped. And I mean, I ain't that bad at all. It's like shit. It's just like in sparring. It ain't like I ain't ever been buckled in sparring before, and it ain't like I take the rest of the day off when it happens. I'm just like shit. Woo, hey, good one. Woo, shaking off a little bit. Like let's go, touch gloves.
Wakes you up a bit, yeah.
Right. And but yeah, man, that was cool. And I liked how, like before the fight, me and Bubba and all the fighters were cool with each other and all the fans were cool with coming up interacting with the fighters and everybody, nobody was bigger than the sport. And I think that said a lot to me the first time I went out there. And that's something that I feel like I'm trying to keep out there. And I know a lot of guys that are still there that have the same attitude, that the sport's really more important than them. As far as, bare knuckle being a staple over in the United States. I know like in the UK, that's like y'all's fucking national sport or something. But
You could say that, yeah.
In America, man, that shit is frowned upon. It's kind of got the black curse upon it, like the scarlet letter or whatever. And it's just a taboo, that doesn't really make any sense. And but I think that people seeing guys like me and which granted I look like a freaking lunatic when you see me out there fighting and stuff, but they see us, being a part of the sport. I try and interact with my fans, and I know a lot of the guys at Bare Knuckle that talk back to the fans on comments and stuff, and that don't happen in any other sport. And you got fans that are sending them stuff, and the fighters actually, repost it and re-interact, because this is all new to a lot of us too, and that's what's so fun about it is that we appreciate it because it's something that we didn't feel like we were owed. And that's where you see a lot of these bare knuckle people, where we end up is because, we were in a sport that didn't respect you or pay you for what you earned or what you took. It was all about who you knew and,
What you risked,
how
yeah.
many, and all these other things, and but not in bare knuckle. And now we get to make our own way. So you're seeing genuine people get to the top and genuine people get to be, featured in the sport. And I just think that that's a big deal.
Yeah, people that are relatable to fans and spectators, that's always important. I mean, like over here, obviously, football is our national sport, soccer to you. And, you know, the footballers over here are unreachable, completely out of touch with their fans and stuff. 99% of them anyway. But I've
Right.
found, obviously, with fighters, MMA fighters, bare knuckle fighters, they're a lot more approachable and a lot more genuine and down to earth, which and BKFC seems like a fantastic promotion. It actually backs its fighters and has your backs and promotes you well and stuff, you know. So that's always got to be a bonus. It's got to feel nice working for someone like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've always been an easy fighter to work with as far as working with promoters and doing what I can to help out. And, not trying to be a prima donna or anything like that. And they actually appreciate that. There's some people that are they'll just like, man, you're just too damn hard to work with. Like, and but there's a lot of entitlement. That's an issue I think we have all over the world now with a lot of people. So but you can be entitled to get that ass whooped. And that's all it'll boil down to. You can keep running it all you want, but at the end of the day, you got to settle down and box. And
But that's the thing in your line of work. You can teach these entitled people a lesson, but for the rest of us, we have to bite our tongues. You know, it's not.
right,
There's
yeah,
definitely some people I'd like to get in the bare knuckle ring, believe me. But
oh yeah, no doubt.
unfortunately, it's a no go. So
I thought y'all just threw hay bales out in the backyard and did it.
yeah. Well, I got my training back,
Yeah,
so that's one thing. But
right, yeah. I thought that's what y'all did on like family reunions, just bare knuckle fights in the hay bales.
yeah, sometimes. I mean, I'm not going to go with that cliche, but
Yeah.
we'll give you it.
Hey,
But
bro, I've had more bare knuckle fights at my family reunions than I think most people have. I could probably say that.
yeah, I can believe it,
It's a
man.
frequent thing down here.
So back when you were actually fighting in the ring, when you're supposed to be fighting, so you win the first fight, then you get another win with another knockout, and then you get the spot against Leben. How did that come about? That fight with Chris Leben, how did that materialize? And what were your thoughts when you first heard it mentioned?
Man, I did not see that coming. I was at I was just had the fight, and I thought I was supposed to be taking some time off, or that's what they had told me anyway. I didn't want time off. I was telling them, no, I'm ready to go.
Oh,
And
you're on the roll, man. Yeah.
yeah, and so I didn't have any damage from the last fight. And then Lieben called me out, so I'm like, all right, I'll be a Huckleberry. We that just where that materialized. I know he had kind of was on the fence about ever fighting again, and he was trying to go into reffing and coaching and stuff like that. But over in California, I think they had like the worst lockdown restrictions out of the whole United States, and like so all the gyms were closed, no fight events were going on, there was nothing, and that's what he said. He just had he just all he had to do was train. He didn't have nobody else to train. So I think Dave had called him up, seeing if he would fight on the Knuckle Mania card. He said, "Yeah, I'll do it, but I want to fight Quentin Henry." And Dave was like, "All right." And so they called me and they're like, "Hey, bro, what's up?" They're like, "So apparently they want you to fight Chris Leben." And I'm like, "What? Why?" Because he fought 195 his last fight. I know he did fight 205 before, but and it just didn't really make any sense as far as like the standings and like for as far as like he was ranked in another weight class, and I was like, what did it mean for my ranking, where it went, or whatever? And they're like, well, they don't really give a shit. They just want you to fight Chris Leben. And I'm like, all right,
For the people, man.
yeah, and I'm like, well, I can do that, and they're like, yeah, he specifically asked to fight you. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I've definitely got to do that, and that was a big deal. That was fun. Because I mean, I feel like I said before, all the respect in the world to Chris, I feel like he tricked me into fighting the exact fight that was the only way he was ever going to win, and he got me, bro.
Well,
There was
if ever you use the word veteran, it's going to be for Chris Leben, isn't it? I mean, he's
yeah,
been there in balls.
yeah, and you can be mad at him all you want, but he got me, So it's like, whether it was part of his plan or whatever, but man, he had me so excited about going in there and throwing, and it just got me so out of my game that I wasn't even boxing anymore. I was just, going wild because I thought that's what he wanted to do. And like, I was excited to do that. And I thought, and bro, he played me, he started backing up. He was moving, instead of coming at me. And, but, I respect him for it. After the fight was over, he was cool. I was cool and all, he was super nice to me. I actually even, hit him up about like all his natural supplements he takes for his heart and all that, all his organ health stuff that he does. Cause, he went through a big deal with drug abuse and all, and had to come back from that. And so yeah, that was fun. It kind of put me on the map for the most part. I'm disappointed in the fact that I didn't get to show what I was capable of because I was in really good shape for that fight. I'd been training really hard, and my boxing was the best it had ever been. And I bet I didn't use any of it after I got hit in the eye.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, like, you looked in the best shape of your career so far, really, in that fight.
Yeah.
And do you think that was down to the last whole year of like different training, and you've had more time to train in your gym and stuff, and
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I left the fire department, and then it made my schedule a little more consistent, my sleep schedule. Then the corona happened, and all I had to do was focus on training. So I mean, yeah, that all played a huge part in it. That's where I'm saying, like, the pandemic sucked and there was a lot of bad stuff, but I mean, I wouldn't have done that otherwise. I wouldn't have put in that kind of work. I wouldn't have built that kind of habit. And then, and that's what I tell people. It was like I had a lot going on before the pandemic. I had like 3 businesses. I had, I've got 2 kids. I got a fight career, different little endeavors I was doing, and everything was going great. And then all of a sudden, it was all taken from me, and the only thing I had left was training and fighting. And it just made me appreciate it more because it was something I still had. And so, and it, whether I fight till I'm 40 or 32, 33 or 60, I can always train, and it's something that can't nobody take from me, whether win or lose. I can still be in here fighting and learn how to fight. And so it kind of, that's why I like doing it. I just fight bare knuckle to test myself. I'm going to train either way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, post-fight, despite the loss, you said that it was an honor to be beaten by, someone like Leben. Does that still stand, or do you look back at that fight with a bit of regret?
No, regrets never helped anybody. Lessons do though. I've left with plenty of lessons. And the best analogy I can give people is, I've been doing this my whole life. I've been training, and I started off as the 18-year-old kid because you weren't legal to fight till you're 18. So I started as the kid around everything, and it was almost like when you're sighting in a gun. You got to sight it in, it's shooting left, and then all of a sudden it shoots right. But now you got one click back to the center, and that next click's going to be dead on. I think the Lieben fight was my first shot to the right, and it helped me get that set. Because before my problem was getting amped up enough to be able to fight like I normally do. And then the issue in the Lieben fight was that I was too hyped. But a good thing is that I can at least influence it.
Just
I can
find
change it.
yeah.
Right. So that's where I felt good on that. It was like, all right, I just built it up a lot in my head, and I was just too amped, and I wasn't slowing down enough. So, but that ain't happening again, because after I did that, it was almost like I was too good. And I know that sounds stupid because I lost the fight, but there's a rhythm to fighting, and my rhythm was just off. It was just too fast, and I was expecting him to be much faster than he was. I was, I shot in on like I was landing this body shot on people all day in training. And I landed it on him right off the fight. Bam, landed the body shot, but I expected him to move with it and have some more footwork, but he didn't. So when I landed that body shot, I was like a foot past where I thought I was going to be. And it just, it just messed everything up in that sense, and it was because I was expecting him to be a lot faster than he is. And in my mind, he was a superhero, and you got to be superhuman to beat him. So I was trying to be superhuman, and it was really just fucking me up. It was just throwing my rhythm off, and when the rhythms finally caught, it was him catching me, type of deal. So, but again, that's part of the savvy veteran thing, but I learned a little bit of that day, and you can't get that otherwise. Fighting normal guys, you gotta lose to a guy like that to learn some things.
Sure, yeah. I mean, so is that your future now, cemented in bare knuckle? Or is there any other goals you've got or endeavors you wanna try?
Man, yeah, I mean, I want to be a champion at bare knuckle. I want to be the first bare knuckle champion from Louisiana. And we got Dustin Poirier brought the belt home, the interim title home, and got to be a champion here. And I'd like to do the same thing and be the first bare knuckle champion from Louisiana. I see Dustin bringing the title home soon. After he takes care of McGregor a third time, but that'll that's my goal. I want to be a champion. I want to take out the 205 belt, and I'd like to go get the 195-pound belt. That's a weight class I can make. I don't think there's a lot of guys in the weight class right now, so it's not really interesting, but it's definitely something that I'm up for.
So do you know Dustin? Have you ever trained with him or anything like that?
I've met him at a couple different events. He lives about 4 hours south of me. So 4.5 hours to get, to drive from where I am to where he is. So, but yeah, we know that a lot of the same people, and that we see each other at a lot of the events. And man, he's a really nice guy. We're not like buddies texting back and forth. We see each other, we're like, hey man, what's up? And he's a workhorse. And that's just, he's somebody that deserves what he's getting. From
Yeah.
where he came from and the work that he puts in. And even growing up when I was younger, because he's a little older than I am, but or well, he might not be older than me, but he's definitely a little more ahead of me on his career wise. But when I was younger and we knew who he was, before he was like a big deal in the UFC, it was like when people talked about going to train with him, they're like, dude, you don't just go train with that guy. Like, he's gonna hurt you when you're training, because it's not like he's trying to hurt you. It's just he trains that hard. And that's kind of, you pick things up like that from people that are, you see where that got him, especially after, having, going to the top at 145 and falling off and then rebuilding himself at 55. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and now look at him. He's taking red panty night again, isn't he? So
Right. Yeah. Again. Man,
yeah.
it'll be wild.
I mean, he made the right choice there. I mean, he had options, obviously, to go for the belt proper, but who's going to turn down a fight with the biggest selling star in MMA? Do you know what I mean? It's not going to
Right,
happen.
man. And he'll get that belt when it's time. He knows that. It'll be waiting for him after he gets done with McGregor, but that big pile of cash won't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of both guys, but I just think that
Right.
I just think Poirier's evolved so much. He's like a different level now. He's
Oh
like
yeah.
Poirier 2.0, and
Mhm.
I mean,
Well, I think the biggest difference with him at 155 is he can just take the punches. And
yeah,
I mean, especially between him, I mean, the first McGregor fight and the second McGregor fight, he caught him with better shots in the second one, but he just ate him. He had the extra weight on him. He's better at taking the blows. That's why I
yeah,
like fighting at a bigger weight class. It's just, the concussions aren't as bad, and yeah, it fits him better. And I feel like it's almost the opposite for Connor. He was just so much bigger at 145, and his power was so devastating at that weight class. And then at 155, it's just it's about, not that it's, he's obviously a good striker and hits hard, but it's different when you're hitting a dude that walks in there at 165, 170 after cutting weight and gaining back up, or versus a guy who makes 145 and he's at 155 the next day type of
yeah.
deal. So,
Yeah, I feel like they're on two different trajectories. Do you know what I mean? Like
right.
career-wise, I mean McGregor's always going to sell out the arenas and the pay-per-views or whatever. But I still think,
Right.
while he went down, Dustin went up. So it's interesting anyway. We'll see. I don't want to call that one really, to be honest. I'm not brave enough. But
Well, I mean, I'm pulling for Dustin. He's a hometown guy. We're home state, and I'm wanting him to bring it home. But I do like McGregor. I like his style. I respect him as a fighter. There's no doubt. He's obviously a phenomenal fighter with the things he's been able to do. So But yeah, that was when they fought the first time. I was like, oh man, I don't want them to fight because I like both of them. But at the end of the day, if Dustin comes out victorious, like I know he did in that last one, he made a lot of money. It was great for his career. I think it's going to be great for him either way. At the end.
Yeah, I keep meaning to wrap this up because I've taken up so much of your time, but I keep thinking of more questions, man. So, any of the current UFC heavyweights you'd like to give a bare knuckle fight to?
Current UFC heavyweights.
Yeah,
Man,
anyone you'd I don't know, for whatever reason that you'd like to face in a bare knuckle fight.
Man, Frank Mir was supposed to be getting into bare knuckle at one time. Man, I don't know about any of them active ones. Them boys big. I'm walking around about 215 right now. They're cutting to 265, but yeah, anybody they want to pay me to fight, I will definitely throw with. I think bare knuckle is a different sport. I think they'd be surprised with it. But I don't think there's a person on the planet that I couldn't put up a good fight against or give them a hell of a time. They might win when you fight me, but you won't feel like you won the next day.
Sure, yeah, I
You
can
that.
see someone like maybe Mike Perry going over. Maybe he's a bit too small for you. I don't know, but
What? I love Mike Perry.
yeah,
Mike Perry is awesome, dude. Yeah,
he's the
I would
kind of
totally fight
geezer
Mike
that I
Perry.
can see making that move, though. Because I think he's got one fight left on his UFC contract. I can't see them offering him another one, to be honest. He's been in a bit of a bad run, hasn't he? But
Yeah,
I could definitely
but
see it making
Mike Perry's a guy that his style would be great for bare knuckle.
Yeah,
Honestly,
exactly. Yeah.
he's a guy who throws hands, and that's what we do. You saw him punch that old guy that was trying to hit him. Like,
I mean, he's going on severe lack of head movement recently, though. I mean, I think he'd get
yeah,
chinned pretty quickly at the moment. He'd have to make a few
yeah,
adjustments, but
yeah,
he's
that's
definitely a
true.
character, and BKFC is full of
Yeah,
characters. So
man, he is
I'm
that
putting it out
character.
there,
That's a
man.
good
I
word.
think I'm putting it out there. I think by the end of the year, Mike Perry's a BKFC fighter.
I hope you're right. That would be fun. I hope I get to fight on a card with him.
Yeah, definitely.
They do
So
shows in Miami and stuff, so I think he would be a draw there, so it would make sense. Florida's got it legal.
yeah, definitely, man. So what does the rest of the year look like for you then?
Man, we're looking for hopefully get a 3-fight deal set up soon, some type of contract. We're kind of waiting for the corona to go through. Next weekend we've got Ryan the Juggernaut Jones will be fighting BKFC April 30th. I think it's BKFC 17. And
Yeah.
then no, yeah, 17. And then man, after that I'm just training. I'm trying to work on getting I'm trying to close I've got a building I'm renting for my gym now. I'm trying to build one out on my land. So I've got my own little personal place to train and invite people from all over the country. And, hey, the UK, if they want to fly in and come do some bare knuckle boxing training with me, I'm just looking for training
Oh,
partners.
mate, I'm
Trying to
there,
take
mate.
this
I'm
thing.
there. As soon as they open the
Yeah,
borders, I'm out there,
right.
man.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to go all the way with it, and I got plans to build like a little spot out on my land. It's not huge, but it'll be nice, and we'll get to going with it. So anybody I can bring in to help me, I don't mind helping them, and that's really my plan this year. I just want to build the best bare knuckle boxing team that you've ever seen, and as a result of that, I'll be a champion. I'm only going to get better at the end of it.
Cool, man. It sounds like you got it all mapped out, really. So I'm going to let you go, mate. I promise. Is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to, or any mentions you'd like to give before I let you go?
My wife. I love my wife. I want to thank her for a lot of this. She's helped out, significantly as far as, you can look as far as when my career actually started to do anything or my life started to improve, as she was a keystone in that.
Oh, you're one
We
of the
got,
last romantics, mate.
yeah, well, you got to admit it when it's true, so, I got my boys, my little girl, Aubrey D, we hang out and have a good time. My sponsors, I had a good show of sponsors. They're all behind me right here on my banner, the last fights that we had. Looking to get another round going soon, hopefully, as soon as we can get a contract signed, man. I'm in talks. I got some big things going. I can't really talk about it all the way yet, but just know it's huge. Huge.
I'm pleased for you, man. I'm glad to hear it. So
Right.
Thanks so much, Quentin. It's been a pleasure talking to you, mate. I appreciate you giving up your time for us.
Hey, absolutely, brother.
And I hope to catch up with you soon.
Yes,
Good
sir.
luck for the future, man.
I appreciate it, man.
All right. Thank you, Quentin.
Rob.